In this YouTube video, we're going to take a look at how to control the target movie clip. If you click on any of these white dots that are currently displayed in here, you'll see that the target layer is selected. And while that's selected, you can see that I've got target 8 on here. So that looks like it's Dallas. And if I click over here, here's San Diego. You can see that that's target number 7. And of course, that corresponds with our code. So let me pin this open. And in here, if we count 7 down, so 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's San Diego as we thought it was. And from here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So looks like San Diego's got 1,300,000 plus citizens. And when we click on San Diego, we can see that that's what it is, 1,300,000 plus citizens or souls that live in that town. Okay, so these are two text boxes that are being deployed or that are used to populate the information inside the text box. Now, every once in a while, you get into a position where the link isn't facing the right way. So for the most part, I consciously decided I wanted to keep the West Coast so that it would be on the flush right. So San Diego's flush right, and if I move up to San Jose, San Jose's flush right. Over here on the east side, I'm going to click on Jacksonville, that's flush left. I'm going to go up to New York, that's flush left. And I'm going to go to Philadelphia, that's flush left. Now, if for some reason I needed to change it because everything was getting in the way, I have the option of selecting the movie clip and swapping it out with something new. So in here, now this is a bad call because there's a lot of lines in here that are going to be interfering with the name of Philadelphia, but I'm going to show you how to set it up differently anyway. So I click over here, I've selected the movie clip, and I got to be in the right place. So I'm going to go to the target layer and unlock that. Yeah, it's unlocked. And now I can click over here and click on New York. And now I'm on, should be on 0. So I've got the movie clip, the object, and it doesn't look like I've got it. Let me try it one more time. I may have to lock up my layers. Okay, I got it that time. Sometimes it's easier to lock everything and unlock the layer that you're interested in getting. So there it is. And as you can see, this is 0. So let me click on that again. And target 0 underscore MC. And we all know that 0 is New York. And that's going to be populated with the name 0 and its 8 million plus population number. Well, let's say that you don't want it to be flush left. You can see that here target flush left is the movie clip that it's using. I can click on the swap and then go to flush right and hit OK. And now when I run this and I go to New York, it's now flush right. Now obviously there's a problem here with it being flush right. The arrow's getting in the way, and now you know why I set it up so that it would be on the other side. But this is an easy fix. If something gets in the way, you have the option of doing a simple swap. In some cases, you actually want to move the button either on top or to a different location. So let's go ahead and click on that again. I said button, I meant the movie clip. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to swap it back to flush left. So let's go to left and I'll hit OK. I'll run it so you can see that it's on the left side, outside plane. That looks good, New York. Okay, so you can see now it's flush left again. Okay, let's say I wanted to have this move on top, and I can't see it when I'm in this mode. It's because that first frame in here, it's invisible. But if I go inside the symbol, you'll notice that there's a dummy layer in here that happens to have a guide assigned to it. What this means is that this layer is never seen, but it gives me a reference to where the text is. So if I go ahead and make this back into a normal layer, now that will be revealed on the stage, and now I'll see this thing because it just thinks it's supposed to be there. And so let's go to the stage and we'll see it everywhere where there's a flush left. I'm now going to see my text box. And sometimes you have to reload this. So let me turn that back on. And then you can see it again. I'm going to lock everything and unlock the target MC. That way I can get to it. But now you can see where the text shows up. And so if for some reason I needed to move these to different locations, now I'm going to move it by selecting here. And now I can drag this around and move it underneath. And I can do the same thing with New York. I can grab over here, click on the New York, and I'm going to move that so that it's on top. And now I can see the text in a new location relative to the dot. So I can maybe even make it look like it's flush left on top. I'll do the same thing. Well, this one I'll leave so you can just see what the difference is. So now when I run this, oh, I forgot to lock my text. Let me change the status of the text box. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to change that back to a guide or a mask. That'll work as well. And hit OK. And now I'll run it. And now when I click on New York, you'll see that the name shows up on top, flush left. And if I click on Jacksonville, Florida, that's now showing up on the bottom. So you have the option of changing the location of where it fades in. And in order to get a better sense of how close you are to that location, you can go ahead and turn on that option that allows us to see the layer that presents the text in the first frame. So that's an option that can work for you. So that's the only setting in there that's worth mentioning. And again, if you wanted to make the animation do something different, now we have the animation over here. If we scroll back and forth in here, you can see there's where the fade in. I currently have my animation coming in so that it fades in from the left and then it slowly emerges to the side like that. And then when it fades away, it stays in place, but it just fades away. That's the way it's set up. And if for some reason you wanted it to look like it was being tucked back into wherever it is that it came from, you can grab this keyframe. I'm holding the Option key down and I'm dragging it down to the end. So now it's going to look like it fades from the left to the right. And then in here, it's going to quickly fade from the right to the left and get back into position. Now this is only affecting the boxes that are the flush left. If I want to have the same effect in the other one, I'm going to have to modify that movie clip. And instead of going looking to see where the flush lefts and the flush rights are on here, I can just go ahead and go to the library, double click over here, and then I know what the general change was. This in here does pretty much the same thing, but this time it's fading in from the right to go to the left. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. I click on here, hold the Option key down, and select that. And now when I run this, you'll see that all of them fade. And when I go to another city, pay attention to what happens to New York. It's going to fade back to its original position and move back so it looks like it's being tucked away. So you can see that again happen. As one fades in, the other one fades out, and one moves to the left and one moves to the right as they're coming in and going. So that's the setups that you might be interested in playing around with this, and how you can control that for your own movie. Now we're going to take a look at how to really modify the text. So in order for everything to show up correctly, again, I'm going to do a revert or reset everything. Reset goes back to the saved version. So here's what I want to happen. I want to be able to click on Jacksonville, but instead of displaying the population, I want a very brief description written in text to pop up right underneath here. So I'm going to go to Wikipedia. So I'm going to select this whole first sentence over here. I'm going to select up a little past that period, do a Command-C for copy, come back over here. I don't need that window. And now I'm going to go to my code. And I want to create a constant variable that has to show up before text number 2 because the variable is going to be used over here at the end. And so as long as it's before that, I'm okay. So I think I'll put it right in here. I'll do a couple of returns. I'm going to paste the whole line I just copied. Go back to the beginning. I'm going to use my word Jacksonville as the name of the variable then everything's going to be housed in. So I'm going to move that and do an equal. And I'll finish this up on the end. And I'll have to come back and do a const thing. I'll put a quote in here. Be careful, sometimes it does give you a double quote. We really don't need a double quote now that we've got the one on the front of the line. And then over here I'll do my semicolon. So that traps all of that. And now over here I can do a constant variable. It's not going to change for anything. And that's good to go. And so I'm not going to use I'm going to say is located. I don't need to say it's a city. We know we're looking at cities. Located in the Atlantic coast of Florida, the most populated city in the state, is the largest city by area in the continuous United States as of 2001. Okay, so that looks good. Now, if you put a quote, let's say there's a word that you wanted to quote, and once you insert a quote, you potentially are going to run into problems because now it thinks that this is one quote in here and this is another quote in there. So the way you break out of a quote is you use a a backslash, and a backslash in front of the quotes. And so there's really no reason why I need to quote this in the actual content of things, but I'm showing you how to set that up. So this gets a backslash as well. So it's diagonally moving from the upper left-hand corner to the bottom right-hand corner. That's the backslash. It's not a regular slash, which looks like this. It's not one of those. It's that one. So now I got my variable. It's going to have a quote in it, and it's going to include this information in here. Now I just need to use it, so I'm going to double click over here, copy the variable name, and I'm going to go to the end of the line, and here's where I want to use it. Notice that I'm not putting it in quotes. I don't want it to say Jacksonville. I want it to be the variable name that houses this information. And this is going to work with one small little problem. And that is, in here, it's still going to try to concatenate the word pop in front of that paragraph. So if I want the population in there, what you may want to do is remember what that population was and then put it into the rest of the code into the text. We'll do that again, but let me just show you how this works right now. So we'll go ahead and hit return. We're going to go to Jacksonville, and there's my information. Still has the population number in there. Uh, so this is a problem. And the easiest thing for me to take care of that, if I still need the population in the other text boxes, then I can go over here and just delete this concatenation over here. And so now it's only going to be the text information. And right now, the way the other boxes are going to show up, it's just going to have a number for the population. So here's Phoenix, it's got the number. And that may still work with your interface, but when I click on Jacksonville, it starts to read more like a text. And notice that Atlantic is in quotes. Obviously, I don't need that to be quoted, so I'll close that. And now I can go back to my text and get rid of this backslash quote and get rid of this backslash quote. And then it's going to read closer to what I want. So Jacksonville gives me a little bit of information. Be careful when you put your text boxes together. Please, please, please try to avoid any orphans. One way of doing it is to force a return. And again, it's backslash and either N or R. N stands for new line. R stands for return. It's got to be a backslash. And even though it looks like RAS, it's going to put the return right in front of as 2020. So if I do a command return, and now we'll see the Jacksonville, it forced the second line to include more text than what it had. But you can't control the rag on the right that way by forcing returns in there. So either R or N, backslash R or N, will give you a new line break so that you can get away from the alignment of your text. Okay, so that takes care of that. And next thing we look at will be the dot animation.